We're at Saturday night's main event and we kick off the show in style with the World Heavyweight Championship match between Logan Paul and the man wearing the classic big gold title belt, Jay Uso, who will walk out of Tampa as World Champion. While the match is on, and Jay instantly looks for a super kick, although Logan evades it and hides on the outside. But that doesn't matter to Jay Uso, as he dives on the Maverick with reckless abandon. Then he sends him back into the ring and looks for a splash, although Paul is able to dodge it before looking for the one lucky punch, but the champ counters that all the same. Then it's all things Jay, as he nails a striking combination culminating in Jay sending Logan Paul back outside of the ring as he attempts to nail another dive, though he crashes and burns, as Logan then hurls Jay to the barricade. Then Logan looks to dive into the ring, but he isn't able to connect with anything, as he gets speared out of nowhere, which only gets him a 2 count. And Jay keeps on the attack, as even though Logan attempts to fight back, he gets an enziguri for his troubles. And the troubles keep on coming for the Maverick, as he gets pounded with punches in the corner, even though Paul is able to fight back this time much more effectively, as he connects a big clubbing elbow alongside a clothesline to take down the champ. And he attempts to continue with the assault with a DDT, which gets countered by Jay, though he too can't manage to nail a DDT, as Paul reasserts his dominance on the match, which really goes into full swing, with Paul relentlessly using his boxing background to good use. And he gets cocky with this, as he attempts to pin Jay with just 1 foot, which of course doesn't work. And this seemingly lights a fire under Jay, who starts to fight back, though he gets put straight back down. Paul even manages to nail an impressive moonsault, just like at WrestleMania, though this too doesn't get the job done. So he tries to go for the finishing blow, although as he looks for the buckshot lariat, Jay manages to beautifully counter it with a Samoan drop. And this is the turning point of the match, as Jay hits a spinebuster, a flapjack, and a suplex variation before rolling him up and nailing a super kick. And to complete this barrage, Jay nails a splash to retain the World Heavyweight Championship, as the show kicks off with a hell of a yeeting celebration, and for one night only at least, with big gold around his waist. Although the next match has nothing to do with gold, it's all about pure personal animosity, as it's time for the steel cage finale match between Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. And the match starts off hot, as both men just slug it out with one another until they both stagger. But Drew looks for an early claymore, which gets countered by the former El Campeon, who then just drops the elbow. Then he looks for a chokeslam, though his finishing move too gets blocked by McIntyre, who just lays into him with punches left, right and centre, leaving him helpless in the corner to more damage, which includes more barrages of strikes alongside a big boot on the down Warrior. Then it's a Scottish Warrior, who then uses the seal structure to his advantage, as he whips Damian Priest into it back first. But Drew stays on the attack, as he hits more punches and kicks onto the downed fighter. Then he goes into the corner and looks for the Claymore kick again, although once again, Priest gets out of harm's way and blasts him with a super kick. Thus it's now Priest's turn to hurl Drew into the steel, which he does to great effect. And after planting him face first into the canvas, Priest is able to nail a Razor's Edge, which only gets him a 2 count. Then he decides to climb to the top rope, although he gets caught and dropped with an electric chair drop courtesy of Drew McIntyre. And from here, Drew looks for a Glasgow kiss, which gets countered, although a slap to the ears too gets blocked, and after a missed strike, Priest is able to nail a flatliner, which busts Drew open, but that doesn't get the job done. Yet he stays on the attack, as Priest even manages to nail a South-African chokeslam, but once again, Drew kicks out. Damian doesn't know what to do, aside from perhaps taking the biggest risk of his career. But before he can do so, Drew rushes over, striking his leg before he meets him up there. And both men just start trading strikes up there. It's a precarious position to be in. This could turn ugly. And it does, as after Drew overwhelms Damian, he sends him crashing and burning into the canvas. He's done! And Drew knows it, as of a subsequent claymore, he picks up the win. He completely and utterly stands tall. He has beaten Damian Priest twice now at PLEs and can finally move on. And even with the blood streaming down his face, Drew is happy. The voices are gone, and now he can focus on what's next. But up next on the card is a tag team match pitting the new Paul Heyman guys against the unlikely duo of CM Punk and Sami Zayn, Who will stand tall? Well, the match begins with Seth Rollins and CM Punk, and they go at it as if their hatred for one another is still at its brightest, and Rollins actually gets overwhelmed by the velocity of Punk, so he tags in the muscle of his group, and Braun proves this to be the case, as he completely decimates Punk with big power moves left, right and centre. So Punk has to use his experience to good use, although this gets cut short by a big power slam. Sami wants the tag, but he can't get it yet, as the straight edge saviour is isolated away from his tag team partner throughout the contest. Everyone is desperate to see Sami get his hands on Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, but he has to wait a bit longer as the isolation continues. Even when Punk gets a hope spot, Rollins just pulls Zayn away from getting the tag. It's sheer utter domination from arguably the biggest stable in WWE currently. Yet no matter what is thrown at Punk, he keeps on kicking, even if it's a struggle. He even gets hit by a double shoulder tackle, which is quickly followed up by a buckle bomb. But Punk kicks out. Then Rollins goes for a stomp, although this gets countered as Punk looks for a desperate GTS, which unfortunately for him gets reversed. There's still seemingly no hope for the dynamic duo. That is, until Punk is able to nail a kick that stuns Rollins enough for him to actually nail the go to sleep. But before he can get the tag, with Braun and Paul distracting the referee, Zayn gets taken off the apron. Only this time, the culprit is Karrion Kross. Punk is in sheer disbelief, but before he can do anything, he turns around into a spear out of nowhere by Braun Breaker, who pins CM Punk for the free. The new alliance has won, and it seems their numbers have grown, which is proven when Karrion also assaults CM Punk after the bell. But Jay Uso looks to even the odds, though he's overwhelmed and tired from his previous match, as in the end, Seth Rollins stomps Jay onto the concrete floor before going into the ring and standing tall with his faction surrounding him. But can R-Truth pull off the impossible and defeat his childhood hero? Well, after John Cena brings out the title most synonymous with him, the non-title match is on, and Cena demands for Truth to give his best shot at taking him down, which he does with a shoulder tackle. Then he hits another, and we all know what comes next. Although as R-Truth looks for a 5-knuckle shuffle, Cena gets his foot up and attempts an AA, yet Truth counters with 3 well-timed elbows to the side of the skull, and he then nails one of his own, which only gets him a 2 count. So he goes for another, although this time, Big Match John is able to get out of his own move before nailing the AA. But a miracle happens, as Truth kicks out. And Cena is flabbergasted at this, as he says at the down corpse, "Damn it, Truth, why keep fighting a losing battle?" And Truth gets up and replies, "Because like my hero once said, never give up." And this actually gets to Cena, although eventually he goes to put an end to the match with a second AA. But Truth scatters, and this causes the referee to be down to the outside before Cena actually nails the AA. And he sees the downed ref and just goes into the corner. He doesn't actually want to hurt Truth more than he has to. Something has changed, but before that change can be fully realized, a nightmare comes back to reality.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Cody Rhodes is here, and he's gunning for John Cena as he ducks a shot and nails a crossroads before helping the referee up to count the pin for the win. R-Truth has just defeated John Cena. Everyone is stunned. No one saw this was all coming. And even if Truth didn't win the title, he can say that he was the man who started to break down Big Match John. Although before we come full circle, Cody Rhodes celebrates with Truth as the show goes off the air. And if you like this story, I think this might interest you.